Hey guys, this is Steve again with LRM Leasing. Today we're going to talk about some more Q&A. We're going to go over a few of them on my piece of paper here. And let's jump right into it. So the first one I have here, is it safe to change fluid once your transmission has reached 500,000 miles on a DT12 transmission? It doesn't really matter when you want to change your oil, especially if you just got the vehicle. I don't think it would be a problem at 500,000 miles. When you drain it, just keep an eye on the fluid that's coming out. Like if there's metal or certain debris, then I would be a little concerned. But other than that, drain the fluid, replace the filter, and then drive it and shift it and see what's going to happen, but it shouldn't be a problem. Now, there was another video that I did, so once you did change it, we'll drop it down so you can see what intervals you should be able to do that in for your DT12 transmission. The next question is, and it's going to go right towards the transmission again, DT12 transmission. They want to know if there are any grease points on the transmission. There are not. There's none that I have seen yet, but no. The only one that might have it, which I haven't seen it either, would be the U-joint on the back of the transmission. But now these days, they're all already self-packed, and you should be good to go. There will be no grease. The only thing I'd be looking for is like oil leaks, air leaks around the transmission, and just making sure that it's full of fluid. But at this point, there are no grease fittings. Like there's no throwout bearings on the clutch anymore on the DT12. So that part you don't have to worry about. If you're looking, you can stop searching. So the next one I have, it was like for an electrical issue, but it was for an inverter. So certain inverters, especially if you touched it and it, blows, sometimes they'll have a fuse on the back. But if it doesn't have a fuse and it stopped working because you hooked it up wrong, unfortunately, you may have to replace that inverter. The only thing I can tell you is look at the manufacturer, read it. Maybe it might have a reset or maybe an internal fuse, or you just might be SOL and might have to get another one. And also when you're installing inverter, I would highly recommend that you install a fuse in between the power to the battery to the power to the inverter. So right in the middle, you could put a reset fuse or at least a mega fuse. There are a few in here that's a little bit difficult. The guy says he has changed out his trailer and it's still shaking. Well, if they changed out the trailer, I have to assume that the shaking's coming from the truck side. So when you drive the truck, it's kind of hard to determine what it is. I would have to be there to see what's going on. I would have to ask more questions. Do you feel it in your butt? Do you feel it more in the center? Is the whole truck shaking? Is that at a certain speed? Is it only with a trailer? Shaking with only a trailer, you put down the weight. I would want to check your ride height, with your airbag, and also check your shocks, those kind of things. If that's the case, if it shakes no matter what without the trailer, then I would be looking more towards the truck, tire, suspension, driveline, and so forth. But without more information, it's kind of hard to help what direction to point you in when it comes to that kind of shaking issue. There was another one about ABS with Wabco and Freightliner Cascadia. So Wabco's on most of these Freightliners. Usually you gotta communicate with the Wabco side, or you might have to hook up to the Freightliner side. Most Freightliner softwares, they communicate with both in tandem. Usually when you're at a independent shop, they'll have probably both, one Freightliner and one Wabco. And it's been, in my career, it's like Freightliner says it's Wabco, Wabco's gonna say it's Freightliner. And usually you just gotta do your due diligence, check your powers and grounds is the main one. Make sure the sensors and communication is what it's supposed to be. And then sometimes with the newer trucks, you gotta make sure the software is up to date as well for the ABS module. But Wabco, I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. In these Freightliners, they're gonna be around. Usually the mechanic is just not sure about it and they just say that it's one or the other. Just trying to find another technician that's a little bit more knowledgeable when it comes to the Wabco on the Freightliner side. The lights on the truck, I will be correcting that. You're correct. If the lights came from the manufacturer, right? Your marker lights, your side lights, your tail lights, those have to be working correctly. If you have chicken lights, they don't have to be working to pass DOT. The only thing it does have to be is the proper color and the direction. So you can't have red chicken lights in the front and then yellow ones in the back. So it's misconstrued in what direction that truck is in, because usually your tail lights are in the back. So just always make sure when you install the lights on the truck that they are the proper color and orientation of the vehicle, or else you will get cited by a DOT. Now, my last question would be steering. This person is having an issue when they back up and it feels hard. So the first thing I would do is, because not a lot of people do it, is let's replace the fluid and the filter and the steering. See if that, relieves some of the restriction that's going on. If it doesn't, then there's a tool that you would have to put between the pump and the gearbox. What we're looking for is pressure. So if you're not getting enough pressure and it feels hard, then the problem is it could be the pump or it could be the gearbox. So there will be a little bit more diagnosing going on, but usually that's where the indicating it is. Or if you're just churning hard, no matter what, going forward or backwards, then I would jack up the truck and making sure the kingpins are properly greased, because sometimes I have seen that as well. But those are pretty much the most common ones. What is the simple thing and more cost efficient would be, replace the fluid and the filter and just see if that, and go from there to see if that relieves that problem. So these are all the questions that I had that were left on the YouTube. It was fun, going through your guys' questions. And if any corrections I got to make on my end, I'm going to do my research. If you call me out, I have no problem learning from my mistake. The only way you can get better is by making a few and learning from them. So I encourage, if you guys see something, I'll definitely research it. Reach out to a buddy of mine as well to confirm if there's any, invalid information, because I do want to get you guys the proper information out there. All you're going to do is be more successful and try to have less breakdowns and DOT issues. So if you guys like anything you saw today, don't forget to pound that like button. Please have more comments coming in. More is better. Leave those comments at the bottom for me. If you guys want more content coming your way, you guys got to pound or at least subscribe so I can get you that content to save you money and get you on the road. I'll see you guys around on the next one.